Precisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive. And so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard, and Lloyd is here. He's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Okay, is it working now? Okay, good. I apologize. So first, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors and everything. So I'm trying out a new mic today, so I apologize for that. Thanks for messaging me to let me know there. So we're glad to have Nicole and David here. You all want to give a quick introduction before we shout out to our sponsors?
Great. Thank you very much for the opportunity. David Teek. I'm the director in the Technology Transfer Office at Florida A&M University and the PI for the EDA University Center project, the FAMU Innovation Center.
Hello, everyone. It is such a pleasure and an honor to be among you this evening. My name is Nicole Gislason. I'm with the University of West Florida Haas Center, and we are among one of two EDA university centers in the state of Florida, like FAMU. The University of West Florida has been somewhat new to the EDA University Center realm, but I've learned from my colleague David at FAMU, and just so grateful to be able to share some of the things we offer. Many of you may be familiar with the Haas Center, and for numerous years, almost 30 years, we've been providing curated data from the center. Most of it is related to economics and workforce information, impact studies, but we also have an innovation arm where we have C3D and we do product prototyping. We've been doing that for about 6 years now, and I look forward to sharing more with you in a few minutes.
That sounds great. Yeah, that sounds really great. We're definitely glad to have you both here to kind of help the founders and the folks know what you all do and how you all can be of help to them as they're growing their startup. So we're excited about that. So we'll take a second here to give a shout out to our sponsors. We started a partnership with Blacks in Technology Foundation last year, and that's been wonderful. We did a lot with them, with a lot of founders all over the world. Florida Power and Light, they've been a great sponsor. They especially for our Black Founder program. They also sponsored a training platform with the Lean Stack. So yeah, it's just a lot of great sponsors. Industry Hotels, they helped us out with sponsoring several of our demo days and pitch competitions. First Bank, just you name it. Also local folks, both chambers, and CoLab and the SBDC. So yeah, we've been, all these folks helped us get started, 3.5 years ago, and that's why we're still here to serve you all. So excited about that. Yeah, Nicole, I guess you saw some of SBDC there, and and so I guess we're going to end up partnering with you all too, David, over there. I guess that's probably going to be a good thing to do over at FAMU. So like I was saying, we had a really busy year last year, and it was just tremendous. But we couldn't do it without we got about 10 mentors that supported all those, working with the founders, doing like 31 plus workshops. The event that we have in today, we did 47 of those last year. We did 6 cohorts of our business model design where the founders learn how to stress test their business idea, and also a 90-day launch program with Blacks in Technology. All the newsletters, just a lot of stuff. We were really busy last year. We will be busy this year, but hopefully we won't be. We may not. If we can figure out how to scale things out, we'll keep trying to do that. That's the goal this year, is to try to figure out how to do that. So coming up this year, I'm going to continue to do what we did last year, but we're also going to launch a startup best practice community where you can get in and kind of get connected with all the resources, know what to do based on the stage you're at. Excited about the idea of doing this Black Founder Innovation Summit coming up in April. So we're partnering with the Black Innovation Leaders of Florida for that event. And so I'm going to do some more 30-day programs, and we already got a 90-day program started out. And yeah, so we're just crazy trying to do stuff, but we hoping through some tools and the university centers you all have, Nicole and David, that we also can help the founders out with some market research and stuff as well. Yeah. So, all righty. So let's get this show on the road, and I'll get things started here. So I guess Nicole, that was were you familiar with all the stuff we were doing over here?
Lloyd, until you reached out to me a little bit ago, I was not fully aware of all that you offer to your members. And I was very inspired by the video that you just shared with us. That's a beautiful video. It's it's great to see local entrepreneurs gaining insights and expertise from your mentorship, Lloyd. And so really, really impressed. Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate that. So we have quite a few local mentors, plus we got some mentors, throughout the country as well. So David, so tell us about some of the activities you all have going over in Tallahassee. Your mic is still muted.
Well, thank you, Lloyd, and I very much appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and your founders, and also very interested in learning more about what you're doing and how you're doing it there, and potentially connecting with the Pensacola ecosystem as we discussed earlier today. So the FAMU Innovation Center is about 6 years old. We were established through a program that's sponsored by the Economic Development Administration, which is a part of the Department of Commerce. They provide a set of universities with a moderate amount of funding over a 5-year period, and those awards can be renewed. And it provides kind of a baseline for universities to look at what they have in terms of people, resources, and capabilities, and look at needs and opportunities in their communities and constituencies. We have been focusing on developing the innovation ecosystem both within the Tallahassee area and on campus. We have worked with a number of, so we provide cohort-based programming to do the lean startup model and identification of the MVP, very similar to what your programming is. We're using a curriculum called Co-Starters. We're also in the process of engaging with some national organizations. The United Negro College Fund and EE Just Foundation are creating an eBio capstone curriculum that is targeted at biomedical innovations that can come out of our School of Pharmacy and other places, and engagements through the Air Force Research Lab that's looking to increase the participation of HBCUs in the SBIR STTR program, which is an opportunity that a program in the federal government research agencies that will fund grants to small businesses, which can include university partners, in a multi-step process to develop your commercialization idea and get it to market if it's in an area of interest to those agencies. So we're working on the campus, we're working on the community, we're engaging with our partner universities, lots of great discussions with UWF. We see tons of untapped opportunities, and we're gonna build a bridge or lay a pipeline or build a telegraph or something. So you'll see us out there sooner or later, but it's been an interesting opportunity, and we're seeing a lot of interest and a lot of growth.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what we want the folks listening, no matter where you are, there are university centers all across the United States. So so reach out and find the one. So you can Google EDA university centers, and it will have a list of the centers across the United States. So the deal is for both of you all. I normally kind of want the audience to kind of get to know you all a little bit too. So Nicole, let the audience know your journey into what you're doing now, your involvement in the university, and what led to you getting involved with the Haas Center and EDA and all that stuff.
Thank you for that, Lloyd. So in higher education, I'm a little bit of a unicorn. I never planned to be part of a university, but I'm very proud of my involvement. I was probably the second employee of the Haas Center almost 30 years ago.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Dr. Bill Huth, an economist at the university, he started the Haas Center then, and we've had several various illustrious leaders that have done great jobs in were my predecessors. So I started off as a programmer and IT person with the Haas Center, coordinator, jack of all trades, and did a little bit of everything then. And I was here for 4 or 5 years, and I went on to work in educational programming at the university and continuing education, specifically the IT sector, the precursor to what we now think of as the Center for Cybersecurity. We worked with the U.S. Department of Labor, won numerous grants there that enabled us to pay for some of that IT training for veterans and minority participants. And so we were pretty successful, in getting certificate tuition funding for these individuals, about 750 completers that went on to IT jobs. And that's just in the 4-county region of our beautiful Northwest Florida. So then, I did a few other things, but I recognized in around 2014 the need to accelerate our prototyping skills in Northwest Florida. So actually, I visited Tallahassee, and there was a conference there called Stacking Layers. I think it was probably co-sponsored by FSU and FAMU, and learned a whole lot about what I did not know about prototyping and additive manufacturing, commonly referred to as 3D printing.
Okay.
Armed with one conference, I decided I would take some classes on it, and wrote up a grant for the state to fund what we now call C3Ds, Science, Engineering, and Art, here in the downtown area of Pensacola. So that was before I rejoined the Haas Center as the executive director, but really enjoyed setting that up, hiring the staff and the team members, the students that worked so hard at C3D Lab. And so I've watched that grow and brought that into the Haas Center, which became a very important component of what became the EDA University Center. So
Okay.
I hope that helps, Lloyd. But
yeah, it sure does. And so that stacking layers thing, I don't know if they continued that after they did it the first years or so.
Well, I wish maybe we should restart it, right? Between FAMU and UWF, we could restart that. That really helped me a lot. It was a very broad overview of what was possible. So
yes. So that's fantastic. So David, so what kind of got you into this, grant writing and all this entrepreneurship stuff?
Well, my background was in technology-based economic development.
Okay.
I was involved with, from the early 90s through mid-aughts, with creating and growing an organization called the Spaceport Florida Authority. It now goes by the name Space Florida, which was and is a state agency that served to help to be an enabler for the new, at that time, very nascent commercial space industry to be able to access launch site services within the federal areas of Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. And
Gotcha.
that taught me a lot about how to connect dots, how to build partnerships, how to solve problems. Fast forward to about 10 years ago, started working on. I've been up here in Tallahassee for a while. Hadn't done a whole lot with the universities, other than attending events and those sorts of things, but really wasn't engaged in the university culture. But was asked to help some folks in our College of Engineering to put together some EDA and NSF grants. They were interested in commercialization capacity around clean energy. And so that got me started on the journey of what is commercialization, what is entrepreneurship in Tallahassee. At the time, the answer was not much. And then going on to the next step, well, what do we have? How do we connect it? And how do we build on it? So, I think Nicole would agree. It's you don't have to be a smart person. You have to know a lot of smart people and how to get them together.
Yes. Collaboration. So this evening, we want to kind of focus on the university center concepts and how startup founders and ecosystem folks can kind of leverage that to grow their startups or get, work with you all. And so I kind of want to know what, and we'll start off with you, Nicole. Do you want to just go over some of your slides? And maybe, okay.
Yeah, let's do that. That keeps me on track, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna have
And
my
then,
reading
yeah,
glasses.
definitely talk about this first one. So yeah, so folks can kind of see the deal there.
Right. So, you see our value statement there. We're helping veterans and minorities innovate and generate new product lines. And to that end, I've mentioned C3D, science, engineering, and art. And great to see you too, Vercel. Excellent. But so around prototyping, we often encounter entrepreneurs at various stages of their journey, right?
Yes.
Some literally walk in, as the old saying goes, with an idea on a napkin. I've seen that. I love it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we have designers that are well versed in 3D CAD modeling, so they can bring those ideas to life in conjunction with these entrepreneurs. Then we meet with other individuals who are working with major companies, the Air Force Research Lab, that are just almost ready to launch a given product. Maybe they need to test a different material and they bring it into our lab and utilize our printers and maybe test that material and what have you. But we also have added another tool to our toolkit, and that is a proprietary system that allows us to look at GPS-enabled devices in maybe a city block or a large stadium or a small stadium, whatever it takes. And we can look at, say, the number of visitors in that city block. We can also see the number of quote unquote employees that spend roughly 6 to 8 hours or 11 hours of their day there. We can also get a sense for who lives in that block. And by segmenting these by visitors, employees, and residents, we can also see what types of demographics these individuals possess. So, for instance, we might know how many women visit a Target shopping center in a given area, or how many people are attending a concert at the Sanger Theater. I mention this because it is somewhat new, a new tool in our kit, and I'm happy to meet with entrepreneurs who will depend upon physical locations in a given geography to sell their products or services. And I've already met with a few individuals locally, but we actually purchased this with the mindset that we would be helping governments to better understand their the actual number of residents that are in their cities or counties at any given time. We've sliced up all counties in the state of Florida. We've also partitioned our own city by district so that we can, compare and contrast the various districts of the city of Pensacola. But it does go down to the block level and or even the facility level. This particular AI tool was developed by the Israeli military, and they have commercialized the product with a company in California, and through our network of universities called the Association for University Business and Economic Research, we kind of vetted this product and decided to invest in it for 1 year to see, how good it is. And we have various ways we can use it in existing research projects. But, it's very interesting. They will, of course, not allow us to look at K through 12 schools and the occupants there. They omit any military bases, which is appropriate, and also churches. So I can draw a polygon around an area and it'll give me information about that area. Again, it's visitors, residents, and employees. So fun fact, the city of Pensacola, as many of you may know, has many more employees than we have residents. And that's important because employees spend a lot of money in the city, whether they're downtown or up near the retail section of Cordova, or whether they're on the west side of the city of Pensacola and enjoying some of the amenities there. It's important for leaders to appreciate not only their residents who vote for them, but also the employees and the businesses that occupy these important physical locations of our community. So,
Yes.
I'll pause there. That's probably more than you needed to know about it. But prototyping is a great service too. And we allow 20 hours of free design service through the EDA
Oh,
grant.
yeah, we can talk about both of those things. So the product you were just describing, so if somebody was going to do a retail location, or even if they have a retail location, you could actually give them some information, no matter where they are here in the state of Florida, or to give them some idea about, some demographics, what's going on, the traffic or whatever.
Yes, that's correct, Lloyd. So we'll know about what their average household income is, which is valuable if you're opening up a service business. The other thing that the tool will do is it allows us to examine a certain neighborhood and see what might be missing. So if you're looking to fill a gap, as many entrepreneurs are, they want to know, well, what would be a good tenant for my facility in this particular neighborhood? And so we did this recently for a local group and found that there were fitness facilities missing in this neighborhood. There were not any banks or banking institutions. And also medical facilities were not readily available in the area. So that's another part of the tool. Now, I put on the screen just one example that I took to a conference in San Antonio. And so the tool allows us to look at the passenger only area. So after you get past TSA, that's what's called the passenger only area. And this tool has it for every airport in the United States that has any significant air service. So here you have Savannah there, or San Antonio in the red, Savannah in the green, Pensacola's there in the navy blue, and Corpus Christi is there in the yellow. And the next slide that I'll show you, so the grayed out section is the actual number. Okay, so you can see this tool is doing a very good job of estimating the number of passengers in that area. And the delta, the difference between that light blue and the dark blue line, that can be explained because the actual passenger counts that I get from the city of Pensacola's airport, that includes some of the private air activity and ancillary commercial activity. So that delta can be easily explained. And I think that's a real testament to the quality of the information we're getting.
Yeah, and I think so. Audience, you think, let's say, if you're I think it has, if you're marketing a service on an application or users in a certain city or town, or if you want to launch from a certain city or town, you may want to know the kind of demographics and stuff like that. Now, so let your mind really wonder on that, how the ways that you could use it. I can think of a lot of, one of the founders we have locally, she opened up a tea shop but she didn't do any market research before she opened it. It's a physical store, but maybe with information from a tool like that, it might have been very useful. So David, do you have any ideas how a tool like that can be useful for entrepreneurs?
I think it can help you with understanding what's going on in the community businesses and what your traffic is, understanding where customers and potential customers could be.
Yeah, so founders, you just got to think out loud there. Okay, so that's one or two. And now, so like, which is your C3D lab. So like, I don't know if he's listening. There's a gentleman who has an invention, but it's for, and he's got a patent for it, but it's something to kind of help with lung capacity. But it's like I don't know if it's a one-man pool or whatever that you get in, and it helps with your lung capacity. But what I was thinking today, you probably instead of building a life-size version that you with 3D printing, you could probably build something that a tenth of the size, or a 1/20th of the size, so people can actually visualize what it is, and then fill it up with whatever kind of water or material he has. Then you could probably have a 3D printed or a version of a size man that's a scale down, or woman that's scale down, just to kind of demonstrate how the thing could actually work.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Lloyd. Yes, exactly. So not only can we build a scale down model that it functions, or at least demonstrate some of the value, we also provide animations. So
Okay.
I mentioned the 20 hours of free design, service, and these are often provided by our own students in mechanical engineering that have certifications in 3D CAD or SolidWorks. But I'm very impressed with the quality of their work. And because they often work together, the saying is true, 2 heads are better than 1. And these students do remarkable work. They're overseen by a mechanical engineer in the lab that works with us at the Haas Center. And he's very special too. But the animations really help them to validate their model before we print it. There often is a cost for the printed material itself. Yeah. And we have various materials that you can use, everything from a carbon fiber that's very elegant and has a nice finish, to PLA, which is a polylactic acid, a corn-based product. I mean, you could eat it if you like. It might not have any nutritional value. It's probably fibrous, but nonetheless, it is eco-friendly, to materials that are maybe less eco-friendly, but appropriate for like ABS, for specific applications that might require some sort of weather-resistant qualities. So we have numerous materials. We can also build it in CAD and then ship it off to another printing house that may have even more robust hardware than we have. I would say that our printing facility, while it has numerous printers, is of the prototyping variety. So if we wanted to say print a hip ball replacement that are commonly printed in titanium, we would have to ship that off to a lab that has a capacity to do that. So, but nonetheless, the actual design can be produced and animated right here in Pensacola. So,
yeah. So did you see the question from JD?
Yes, I did. And, each university center is going to be somewhat different because there's a lot of flexibility in the program, and they're looking at universities to think about what can they do with their resources against opportunities and impediments that they see in their circle of influence. It is federal funding. There is no, unlike some programs, there are no specified districts or that. So I would certainly be happy to talk with an out-of-state founder and see what their interests or needs were, and if we could help them address them. It would generally need to be, sort of in the area of, there's a specific interest or need or opportunity that might be tied to expertise or possibly a specific access to technology, or maybe it's business mentoring, or they're looking to do different things. We are also looking at, I think we all learned a lot over the period of COVID, as you obviously have, of how to deliver programming remotely, and we're doing more of that. So, yes. Let's see. You can get in touch with Lloyd. Lloyd can get in touch with me, and I think he can. And if you'll go ahead, it's post our emails and phone numbers on your website or whatever.
I'll have Lloyd Jr. in a little bit to have him post the the thing to the university centers, and that website has you all's contact information on, and it has a list of all the other university centers and the contact information as well. So that's a really good thing. But Nicole, based on that question that he asked, that because you're also part of this manufacturing thing that happens, and so aren't there resources all over the United States when it comes to manufacturing?
Yes, thank you, Lloyd, for that question. So I'm on the board of the Central Gulf Industrial Alliance, which spans from Mississippi through Tallahassee. So obviously a 3-state alliance that works with manufacturers specifically to improve and innovate things like their workforce, their talent pipeline, as well as, their supply chain and perhaps other product needs. So, JD, that was a great question. And David, thank you for that answer. So we can work with individuals out of state. I'll need to get some more information, and I just ask for flexibility in that sense. But I also wanted to show a picture of our lab. So you see 3 of our
Good.
students there working.
But I also wanted to mention, Nicole, but aren't you also connected to the national manufacturing different things? So, and that can help founders become more aware of what's going on in their area when it comes to manufacturing.
Right. So we've had scientists from America Makes come in and give lectures in our lab. They're out of Goose Island, which is in Chicago. And so we work with MIT. I haven't had any of their scientists come down, but we've gone to them and participated in some of their course and outreach efforts at MIT. So we do work across state lines and with the federal government in various ways. We have our team, this small team that we work with at the Haas Center, has 1 patent pending project and perhaps a couple more in the pipeline. The gentlemen that you see on the screen, they are all students in various stages of their career, built this foil board, and you can see some really nice fiber composite work there with that particular foil board. And so they're innovating around a variety of product ideas. I'll go to the next slide too. This is an ambitious project that we want to do with the Center for Bioremediation. This would be a water quality testing device. And these do exist in various forms right now, but we'd like to improve upon this. And so that's an aspiration for the future. These are just 2 internal projects. But we prefer to solve problems related to business needs. We like to say that we have the engineering expertise to help entrepreneurs solve the problems, but we're not as good at coming up with the problems that need to be solved, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I understand there's definitely folks that are inventing things, and I was told a couple of months ago that there was a gentleman in Fort Walton Beach that has an invention and could use you all's type services, to kind of visualize his invention to kind of help get some traction going there.
Happy to help. And so those are just a few of the slides I wanted to demonstrate to the group today, and feel free to take them down if needed.
Okay. Yeah. So what about, because when we talked once before, you mentioned some type of economic research or analysis or something like that. So could you give us some more details on that?
Well, certainly. That for almost 30 years has been the Haas Center's bread and butter. So we do workforce analyses for companies large and small, also for economic development purposes. So if an economic developer or a company wants to see what's in a given labor shed, and labor sheds might be a compilation of zip codes to a group of counties, regardless of where they fall along state lines. And they want to know, what type of individuals are working in these counties and what type of individuals might be interested in working. So we can tell them what the prevailing wages are in a given occupation, right down to the 6-digit occupational code, which is pretty handy if you're coming into a new market and wanting 100 people to go to work. We can also talk a little bit about we can glean information from various profiles online. So I can even offer a company a list of, say, 90 potential new hires with email addresses, phone numbers. And I found that data to be about 50% accurate because people move on, and the data that we're scraping from LinkedIn and other online platforms, can be dated, but if you get 50 potential applicants with contact information, that's very helpful. So for the EDA project, we might offer an entrepreneur one report for that type of information, because it is time consuming to pull that data set together. But we have the ability and the staff to do that. And we also eat our own dog food, right? So when our university wants to find new degree candidates, we utilize this information to discover who might already have a bachelor's of engineering and who might want to embark upon a master's of science in engineering, or whatever the case may be. So we can glean information about potential new students from this tool that I'm utilizing at the Haas Center. And it too is a proprietary platform. It's costly. It's not a free service, but I mean, it's not free to us. So I can offer, 1 or 2 reports from those types of tools, and that can be very beneficial. Think about if you're an airline or a private airline wants to start a puddle jumper from here to Key West, and needs to hire a stable of pilots and crew members. Then we can glean from our data set, who might be good hires for that.
Yeah. So so what I'm thinking about, so like with the founders, when they're trying to figure out who's going to be their early adopters of their products or services. So I'm wondering if some of the two. So let's say it's a certain person, or let's say certain type doctors or whatever. So could you potentially use some of these tools to kind of see what the early adopter market is in a specific city or area or region?
So to the extent you describe what attributes you want.
Yeah.
Yes. So I can take a given set of attributes, and it's things like prior education. That's a key attribute that we can market. Perhaps the certain occupational experiences. So those are the 2 key attributes.
Okay.
And that will help us identify potential candidates for whatever the future state wants. Right. And then it's up to that individual to take action to recruit them, or reach out in whatever means they choose. So we can provide the data, but we are not the individuals that go and actually do the recruiting, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So David, and you and on the Tallahassee side over in FAMU, so how do you all get your data? Do you all have some of these same databases or services?
We generally will work with. There are folks that are certainly our data nerds and demographic nerds, both within FAMU, but also there's some specialized business information over at FSU and the Jim Moran Institute. We also work with our regional planning council, and the regional planning councils are multi-county areas. They are also designated by the EDA as the federal economic development districts.
Yes.
So they do a lot of nuts and bolt things like develop comprehensive economic development strategies and those sorts of sort of governmental planning things. But you're seeing an increased level of them participating in developing economic development programs and services, revolving loan funds, where there's a source of capital for business formation is one of the services that's offered through our RPC. Another thing that that in terms of it's not maybe it's not so much data, but it's insight. Uh, as we build our programs, we try to do engage with community-based organizations and resources. We have the Capital City Chamber of Commerce, which is a minority chamber that's in the Tallahassee area that goes beyond, does entrepreneurial things, but also has a range of business-oriented services, and that very much focusing as we are on African American women, veteran, disabled, and other served populations. Another source for information from businesses which are affiliated with both of our universities are the small business development centers. I think, if you kind of think of the startup journey sort of being an idea into being
Yes.
entrepreneurship to being a business, I think the university centers tend to be in the area of the idea. Is it a good idea? How do we test the idea? Using programming, using 3D modeling, using the data analytics. And we are seeing, particularly as some of the new federal awards coming out, some resources from the Minority Business Development Agency, which is another part of Department of Commerce, providing resources to both of our small business development centers to do minority-based entrepreneurship and access to capital. So, I think in both Nicole's and my case, our programs are kind of have two sides. There are some specific niches and needs and services that we saw as critical gaps in the community that we're looking to build out on. But
Okay.
we're also kind of portals and connectors to what are the resources within the community. And really, we need to talk about as university centers, what is the role of a university? What can a university do in economic development? Because, okay, folks, we're working for you. We're on the we're on
Yes.
the taxpayer dime. It's either state or federal, or in this case, some combination of both for this program. You think of universities as places where students go, they get their degrees in that. But the faculty do research. There's all kinds of research. There's people tend to focus on the STEM stuff, and that's important. Certainly in a defense community like Pensacola. But looking at the stories in the video you showed, where the entrepreneurship also exists in art and music and fashion and personal health care and applications, so it's a mix of, we see a mix of some stuff that's pretty techy, and that, and a lot of things that are, consumer and product based.
Yes.
The other thing is, the university has a lot of experts on a lot of different things, but it's
Yes.
really hard to figure out who they are. And if you do, it may be hard to get them to return a phone call. So, I'm sure nothing like this ever happens at UWF, but sometimes I have to just specifically go and pound on somebody's door or get them out of class just because.
Right.
And they're professors. They've got all these students. They get buried under
Yeah.
email.
I think from my experience with dealing with universities, you have to like I think which is what I wanted to talk about next. Both your universities are willing to partner with these small businesses to get the SBIR, STTR grants. But I think also that's one thing, but also maybe there's some research funding for whatever the startup founder's idea is. So like if you got a new invention and you want to need to run some tests, you could potentially partner with the university, or the university could help you go after some funding to do that, I would think. What do you think, Mr. No, Nicole? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, indeed. So, in partnership with scientists, either at FAMU, FSU, UWF, a lot of magic can happen. One thing I'd like to mention, so it's, we've started walking down the path of patented technology,
Yes.
and it may be of value to your startup organizations and founders to know that universities often cover the cost of patents as long as it's a collaboration with, shared IP across the scientists and the entrepreneurs that come together to make that innovative project, right? So we've been in the business of getting patents now for just a few years, but these situations have come up, and it's always surprising to me that inventors think they have to bear all of that cost, and that's just not the case. Universities oftentimes, with great pride and pleasure, assist these entrepreneurs. Especially if we're co-developing that product, right?
Gotcha.
And that can alleviate a lot of the cost pressures. If you don't have enough cash on hand to hire that electrical engineer, as David pointed out, we have those types of experts on hand that can lean forward, and for a share of the IP, not necessarily the ownership, but a share of that patent technology and the IP, then we can all innovate together and help business owners, which I think is a real magic opportunity for individuals like me who may have a product idea, but not a lot of cash on hand to make that come to life.
Yeah. So that sounds like, depending on what the deal is, the gentleman over in Fort Walton Beach just got this invention, but can't get things off the ground. I think that's maybe an example of how to kind of turn that into an innovation or something. What were you going to say, Dave?
And universities, people kind of look at us and think we're a monolith, and it's really more like a Turkish bazaar, and everybody's got their own tent and their products, and it can be a little chaotic. But faculty are interested in research and teaching, and the people with the expertise in a technology or an area that you're looking to turn into a product or service and take it to market, may not have business acumen. We were talking about the SBIRs, STTRs. There are things that come out of engineering and other disciplines, science and technology, the AI stuff and all of that. The person that could come up with, let's say, an AI algorithm that would be particularly useful to the Department of Defense in terms of making rapid threat assessments, and they did that through a research project, is probably not a great business person, and they need to be partnered with somebody who is in business. The NSF has the I-Corps, which has the entrepreneurial lead, the technical lead, and the industry mentor kind of thing. And we also touched on, SBIRs, STTRs, and I know there's a mix of folks, and some are more technical, are more, maybe in engineering technology businesses, others not. All of the agents, those are grants to small businesses to develop your ideas, and you can partner with a university as a subcontractor to help with those awards. And the other thing that a university person will understand is grants. How do you get a grant? How do you do it? They will have the ability, they will have, know how to write the reports and those sorts of things. So again, you don't want to bring people together that have exactly the same experience and skill set, because you're not adding it. You want to create these collisions of very different people with complementary skills, shared goals, and have them help them down their journey. And entrepreneurship and all of this, people talk about it as a pipeline. It's not a continuous pipeline. It's kind of a bucket brigade. We're handing things from one to the other, and you go different places for different services, but we're all doing our best to talk to each other, and understand what is potentially available, and when a referral is needed, or pick up the phone and get people the help that they need.
Yeah, and so Don is asking about the help with digital products and AI models, and I would imagine some of the professors or and students, even graduate students, doctoral students, and are developing experience in creating models and stuff. Yeah, I forgot about your thing. What about this service that you all have? Nicole.
So this is separate from the Haas Center, but
Okay.
my colleague, Jeremy Kuhl, the Dean of Hal Marcus College of Science and Engineering, runs what's called the Predictive Analytics and Modeling Lab. And so I put a little bit of information there in the chat. It's a fee. There's a fee for this service. It is not an exorbitant fee. But if you're an organization that has tons of data and wants a group of scientists to take that information and glean some insights from that, then I encourage you to reach out. I can connect you if you'll come back to my email, nicole@uwf.edu. Then I can connect you to that team. It's a remarkable service, and I mentioned we often eat our own dog food here at the university. This is a service that we use within our institution to predict outcomes of a variety of things. So I'd be happy to connect you with their team. It's a remarkable group. So
yes. Yeah, I got that. I think I have that information also, so I'll be glad to share it as well. So yeah, that's pretty good. But I think from leveraging the university is a good strategy for helping entrepreneurs and founders with their innovation, whether it's partnering with the university to do a research project, or having the students actually do something capstone project, or have the graduate students work on an idea that somebody has as well. So there's like tremendous amount of options and opportunities. And I think you all are getting the founders to start thinking about some ways, because they may have not realized the opportunity that's available for them, with the universities.
Yeah, and Florida A&M, we consider we are a statewide university, and as the HBCU within the state university system, we take a particular interest in in being in our role as being the bridge to the African American middle class. We see an opportunity to build that out in the entrepreneurship and technology and other spaces. And definitely, and I'm sure Nicole feels the same way. Now that we've learned more about the Institute and your programming and your founders, we're going to we'll be in discussions as to how do we collaborate and make our resources available and build the larger community as we go forward.
I want to thank David. He's a veteran of the EDA University Center system, and I'm grateful to his mentorship in this process. So thank you, David, and thank you to your university.
Well, my pleasure, and I'm very impressed with the things that have been done through UWF, and just found everybody there to be incredibly pleasant to work with, and so I think we've got to figure out what do we do to shorten the 300 miles between our two communities, and see what great things we can all do together.
Yes, that sounds Fantastic. What so like Nicole, what I've been noticing, I was wondering if you're noticing the same thing, with the advent of all these new AI technologies, that it's actually with all this data out there, there's a lot more tools coming out on the market, that can actually help, founders do research. But I think I saw one tool. I think it was I can't remember, was it Scholar AI or something. They had like 200 million papers. Oh yeah, so 200 million. Can you even wrap your head around it? So and they have that tool. I think it's you could get it for under $10 a month. You can get like, there's so many tools out there, because the AI is just making it easier to understand the data now. It's just crazy.
It certainly is, and that also leads me to the point. We need to ensure that universities, entrepreneurs, business owners are able to curate that information that's generated through artificial intelligence or predictive analytics. But it's very important to be concerned about the quality and the source of that information, right?
That's exactly right. So, but I think my kind of summation of, from a founder standpoint and a university standpoint, you literally have, leverage every resource that's out there to help you do what you're trying to do, and you just have to open your mind to say what, who can help me and to move forward. And I think the strategy for Northwest Florida all the way over to Tallahassee now is to kind of see what we can do to make more resources available, for founders. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's I think from my perspective, over the past 3.5 years, trying to be an ecosystem resource, and then all those years before, being a founder, and even before that, all those years doing research, it's like there's so many resources out there. You just got to make the connections,
Indeed, and we're thankful that you make those connections, Lloyd.
Yeah. All righty. So, David, you got any parting words before we get off here?
Well, this was a very fast hour. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm going to look forward to coming out and visiting with you in Pensacola. And again, look forward to hearing from the founders and helping to make connections.
Yes, fantastic. Nicole?
Thank you to all the founders that bring great ideas to life through the KUKA Institute, through Startups on the Block. Look forward to meeting you and learning about opportunities that you're developing. So, Lloyd, thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you all, and we certainly appreciate it. We got some good guests lined up for the future. We're definitely getting access to information, so you all stay tuned and just feel free to go to kukuinstitute.org, and link to the events are always on the homepage there, so you can always get the links for the events and stuff like that. So thank you all, and we really appreciate David and Nicole, and we certainly will be reaching out and working with you all both in the future, and going after some more funding to support our founders.
Excellent.
All righty. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. We'll see everybody next week.
Thank you, Lloyd. Good night, everybody.
Bye.